Ooh, hello, everybody. Hello. Ooh, it's been a morning. It's been a morning. Welcome. I'm going to throw this hat on. I hope that works. Oh, Jesus. Okay. I got a guest that's going to be joining me shortly. So, tell you what can go wrong, has gone wrong. My computer will not work. Then I got the computer to work. And the Wi-Fi won't work in the building that I'm in. So I'm on my phone. So I hope everybody is in. Come on in, share, invite someone. Let me know you're here so that I can know that we are good. I'm going to bring my guest in shortly. I hope that they can hear me. I'm going to bring them in shortly once I get settled. The devil is a liar. God is exalted. So welcome everybody. Make sure when you come in, you speak. Let me know you're here. Say something so that I can share with you. Yes. I'm sorry, somebody's knocking, and I'm on a live broadcast. Hello everybody. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. If you're here, come on, say something to me so that I know you're here. Oh, this is Valerie Houston with SOAR again. It's been a while since we've had a brunch bite with you guys, and I'm here right now, and I'm excited. I've got an amazing pastor friend, brother, that's going to be joining me, and we're just going to talk about a few things before I invite him in. Please forgive me. I'm trying to figure out how I can do this. My computer stopped working, you guys. Don't tell Philip though, because he's trying to make me get a Mac, and I haven't crossed over yet. Thank you, Kika. I miss you. I really do miss you. Um, Excuse me from putting stuff together right now. All right, there we go. All right, I think I got a fit here right now. Okay. All right. Welcome, everybody. Happy Saturday. Tell me where you're watching from, what city, what state. Tell me what you're doing. I'm gonna do this from my phone today. Normally, I do it from SOAR again page, but I'm having such an issue with my computer, so I got to do it from my phone. Hey, thank y'all, everybody. God is good. He is really good, and I'm excited to be here. I want to tell everyone thank you so much for your love and your support. You helped us out on Giving Tuesday, and then you turned around and you blessed us during our 3rd year anniversary. It was our 3rd year anniversary last week, and we had people that came, and then there were people who could not make it, but they still made donations. And I'm going to tell you, we had an awesome time. We were able to bless someone with a scholarship. Yay! And we're getting ready going into the next year to make a huge impact on the Chicago public school system. So we're really excited. I want to say thank you to my team. My team is in all different states. We're in Illinois, we're in Michigan, Alabama, Oklahoma, and they are amazing, and I am grateful for them. I'm grateful for those of you that are watching. I'm hoping that you can share. Today I just wanted to come on and do just like a little recap of what we've been doing over the year, and then I'm going to bring in my guest, my brother, my ace coon boom, my one of my pastors, Pastor Tracy Stingley, is going to join me today. This year, man, we came into this year, right, and we had to learn how to truly work virtual and make the most out of it. So we've done brunch bites where we've given you information on real estate, We tried to give you info on the armed forces, parenting, the pandemic. I hope that it has helped people. And then we also came up with something for the summer. My sister and a part of the team came up with poetry in the park. And we had amazing people from across the whole United States to share their poetry. We even had a 95-year-old who shared with us. Not only did she share her poetry, but she's written a book of poetry. And there's so many other things that we got to do this year. So many students we got to bless, so many students we got to touch. Last week, I had the opportunity to go back to my grammar school, and I was able to share in their career day, and it was amazing. So I'm going to bring in, I want you guys, again, I'm on my phone, so bear with me a little bit. This is the SOAR again information. If you want to see more information about the things that we have going on, or if you want to join us, you want to partner with us, you want to sponsor for us, then please join us. Okay, I'm going to bring him in. I love him with all of my heart. He is an amazing man of God. He is a father. He's a husband. He's a son. And I call him my friend. So would you guys welcome with me Pastor Tracy Stingley as he comes in? Uh-oh, let me get you, Tracy. Hold on. I told you I'm operating from a phone. All right, there we go. How you doing
Can you hear
today?
me well? I'm doing well. I'm sorry, I'm still heading home from the services, but
That's
I'm
okay.
doing well.
Listen, all of us are operating in a special way today, and then I appreciate you because you answered my call last night.
Well, I mean, there's a rule in my heart that whatever my vow needs from me, I'll do whatever I can to do it. So,
All right,
um,
thank you. I appreciate you. I'm so
I
grateful.
appreciate of being with you.
You know what? Give me a little bit more volume. I'm not sure if everybody else can hear you, but I think I'm struggling just a little bit, and it may just be that I'm in a new decade of
Sure,
life.
sure. I wasn't really speaking out, but I'm also uh, on the expressway and I'll be home shortly. So it won't always be like this. I'll be home soon, and so it all works
Okay.
out better.
Well, you know what? Let's do this then. I'm gonna allow you to get home. I'm gonna start talking to the people that are,
Okay,
are on, and then I'll bring you back on shortly.
great.
Thank you. All right. So guys, here's one of the things that I kind of wanted to talk about this year. And I want you guys to put some questions in the comment for me. When you came into 2021, like we came out of 2020, and I know for many of us 2020 it's almost like a blur to me now. It's like, did the year even did we even have 2020? So much happened, so many things that we couldn't control. Not that we're ever in control, but can anybody share with me what your thoughts were coming out of 2020? What did you feel on New Year's Eve night of 2020 going into 2021? Anybody can share with me. My thought process was, I don't know. I don't know that I felt anything. Normally we're in church and we're celebrating, or we're with family. And if I can remember, I think it was just my sister and I in our pajamas. I had never even seen the ball drop, and I watched the ball drop, I think, or the ball watched me, one of the two. But coming into this new year, I was like, kind of, anybody ever been numb, or just not just numb, but just like, I don't know, every plan we had planned for 2020 kind of went out the window. And every thought that I thought, you go around at the end of the year, at the end of 2019, we all were singing, this is going to be my year. This is going to be, the time that we, uh, we're going to, that's not funny, Veronica. But we all talked about how this was going to be our year and all of that kind of stuff. And it just felt like, man, 2020 came in and it just knocked the wind out of us. Oh, yeah, this is good. Says I was numb, but God, Yeah, we are really grateful that we made it, right? And so that's how I kind of felt like, man, I don't even know how I made it out of this year without with my right mind and attitude. But I know one thing I felt a heaviness that I did not want to carry for the entire year. I felt like a despair, I don't know if I want to say loneliness, but I would definitely say it was definitely a challenge. But God, just as the comment just came across, but God, I will tell you that there have been some amazing things that have happened in our lives. And so, even when, and I want to share this with most people as we review the year, even as we end this year, you can take, I am a witness, and I hope I got some witnesses on here. You can take broken pieces of that last year or broken pieces of that last season, broken pieces of that relationship, and you can come and bring those pieces. You can float on those pieces. Those pieces will hold you till you get to your next journey, and there will be a next journey. There will be a next chapter. There will be another level of favor. There will be another level of insight, another level of just getting to a place where you are not so heavy by the cares of this life. These things I have learned in this year, that I am in control of pretty much nothing but how I respond. I'm in control of my relationship with people, how I respond to people that I love, I stand on my faith, how I give back. I'm in control of that, but I'm not in control of the elements. I'm not in control of how they respond. I'm not in control of different things. And when I was okay with releasing the fact that I'm not in control of certain things, that I can only do the part that I've been gifted to do, that I've been prepared to do. He prepared me to take care of my body. He prepared me to get rest. He prepared me to be loving and caring. He did not prepare me to go into somebody else's heart and make them caring, or go into somebody else's life and make them do what I want them to do. He did not give us the ability to go into the weather and say, weather, today is going to be my day, so I need you to be 60 and 70 degrees, and don't let the wind blow. And so when we release that mindset that we can control different things, there's a burden that releases. There's a heaviness that releases. And I think Pastor might be back with me. So I'm gonna bring. Are we ready to come in again, Pastor Tracy? Not yet. Okay, cool. All right. So there's a heaviness that releases from off you when you realize you're not in control. But then I realized the things that I was in control of, I had not been a good steward over. So listen, guys, I had to go in, take possession of my home, make sure that things were in order, ask the Lord to forgive me for, I mean, there were times, y'all, I went through stuff, there were cards, and not that I wasn't grateful, but sometimes when your life is moving so fast, you don't stop to take a moment to take it all in. I open up birthday cards, and I'm sure I don't know how I didn't open them when they happened. I mean, cards from 5 and 6 years ago that had money in it, that had gift cards in it, that had movie passes in it, that I had missed because life had been going so fast and I was trying to control the pace of my life. And when I slowed down and started taking account of the stuff that I am in control of, then I started to see the weight lift. And the more it started to lift, the more I started to live. Woo! Somebody ought to type that. That was real good. I wasn't even trying to preach. The more stuff started to lift off of me, the more I started experiencing the life and life more abundantly. And the abundance of the life is not the things that I hope for, it's the things that I currently have and appreciate and show gratitude for. And so, for many of us, we may have desired to have different things in 2020 that did not come to fruition. But as you end in 2021, please know that it's enough to get you to a place where you can be ready for the desires of your heart. Yeah, for the desires of your heart, because our hearts and our lives are so infiltrated with the cares the cares that are assigned to us, the cares that we took on that we were never ordained to take on, the cares of other people, the cares of the world. The politics got heavy, the pandemic caused us anxiety. And so you've got to release yourself to something greater. And then I noticed too that some of my relationships and friendships started to change a little bit as I grew. And it wasn't because I had anything against them. And you got to free yourself on this end too. You got to free yourself from the place of feeling like you have to be attached to people, that you have to be attached to everything that's them for the rest of their life or for the rest of your life. Sometimes it is a season. And I'm gonna bring Pastor Tracy back on in for this one because I think he can definitely help me with this one. Hey, Pastor, welcome back.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Can you hear me?
Okay. And so I was just sharing that, even in this new year of the lift and the living, that it required me to some relationships had to change. And the change doesn't always mean we're at odds. And so
Totally.
why do you think that sometimes we are made to feel guilty because
Mm.
relationships change?
Well, it's possibly because we don't understand seasons. Like you wouldn't wear a raincoat or a down coat, North Port, whatever it's called, North Point down coat in the summer. It's out of place, and you would look crazy, and you'd be looking like you should be in somebody's home, um, special home. But and you wouldn't wear shorts in the winter or with
You
12
wouldn't.
inches of snow, because it's just not the right season. And so again, like sometimes we don't understand the season that we're in, and we're wearing stuff that we shouldn't be wearing. We haven't on the wrong things, and so like the wrong perspective about some relationships, the wrong perspective about some friends, and that could breed itself into some dysfunctionality, some weird energy. And so again, like sometimes we just don't understand the season, and understanding the season will better help us engage with the moment, you know, because it's not 75 outside, or whatever. Like I'm not wearing shorts. I wouldn't wear no shorts
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
but I'm not wearing shorts. Or because it is a little rainy, a little cold, I got to wear my knit hat. You know what I mean? And so again, like sometimes we have to understand like the season that we're in, and sometimes certain things don't belong in certain seasons. Certain people don't belong in certain seasons, and we have to be okay with that, and embrace that if we're going to be prepared for the season.
That's good. And when you were talking, I think I can envision when you were talking about certain things are not for certain seasons. It's like you can have something in your closet for forever. And just because it's in your closet doesn't mean you'll be able to wear it whenever you want to wear it or wear it ever again. And we have got to be okay with that. If we're the trouble is that we keep trying to take these things into the new year. And what ends up happening is it takes up space for the new stuff that should be going in because God,
Yes,
listen, it is okay to swap out, not swap out people because you're a user or you're a
right, right.
manipulator, but there's just again, like you said, certain seasons. And when I think about that, if my kindergarten teacher had tried to stand in the stead of my first grade, and my elementary stand in the stead of my high school stand in the stead of my college, then I'm stagnant. And
Totally,
their intentions can be good.
totally, totally. It's funny because my daughter's teacher actually did move to the next grade, and my daughter was like, I don't want to be in her class no more. And so she ended up getting transferred to another class. And so it's kind of funny when you talk about that analogy of like moving on, like if they move on, sometimes people move into another season or move to the next level, but you still not together. And we have to embrace that too.
We have to embrace it and we have to set up boundaries. So
Mm,
I kind of want to move into this area a little bit because what I have learned, and God, I guess it took me 5 decades to learn it, that it's okay to have a segment in my life or put um, breakers or boundaries in my life for certain things and for certain people. And I realized my hairdresser, even though we spend a lot of time together, is not my doctor. You
Mm,
understand what I'm saying? And so
mm,
sometimes the boundaries that we set is not, again, because we don't value the relationships, but sometimes we have to set boundaries not only for our well-being, but sometimes even for theirs.
totally, totally. Yeah, I mean, when my son was younger, I would get in the living room and I'll put the couches together, and then I'll take the little table and I'll put it on the end. And for him, he's just running around, running rapid, but he didn't even understand that I put some boundaries in place to protect him so that he wouldn't go to the outlet, so that he wouldn't go beyond what was safe for him. You know what I mean? And to your
Yeah.
point, like sometimes we do need those boundaries, not just for our own sake, but for the sake of others, because sometimes we'll get ourselves into some stuff that we're not mature enough for, we're not emotionally ready for.
Whew.
You know what I mean? Like we do not take care or consider our emotions the way that we should. You know, we just happen. It just happened. Oh, I don't know why. I just feel this way. Well, there's a reason why. And I was going to say this to my baby the other day. She was crying, and uh, usually when she with like her mom, it just just cry, cry, cry. But she and I have this relationship where I try to encourage her, like, okay, like don't just let your emotions get a hold of you. Get a hold of your emotions even at a young age. Like there's a reason to cry, and there's necessary reasons and necessary opportunities and chances to cry. But don't ever allow your emotions to just run you and have control over you. Get control of your emotions. Like feel it, embrace it, and then release. You know what I mean? And I say that again to say like we don't have any boundaries on our emotions. We don't have any gauge of what's going on with our emotions. And then we get into other relationships or situationships and we don't understand like, oh, this is because I didn't protect my emotions. I didn't protect my heart. I didn't guard my heart, as God says.
Yeah.
And so you're 100% right. We need to be very intentional about our boundaries.
Yeah, and so that setting boundaries, sometimes even knowing what your triggers are. So, like for me, my sister laughs at me because when we watch TV, I'm always trying to find something to make me laugh because I like to laugh.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not into
Mm-hmm.
all this horror and drama and mystery stuff because I know my triggers. I know
Mm.
the things that kind of set me off. I know that right now, even though with my parents, it's been almost 5 years for my dad, and it's coming up on 3 years for my mom. So I realized that when there's death around, it's triggering for me, but I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
be selfish. So I try and ask, myself and my Lord, like, how do I help them? How do I know that I love them? And how do I know that? How do I let them know that I'm here for them without putting myself in a position of a setback? And I know that
Mm-hmm.
there are people be like, no, you get healed from that. You get healed from it. No,
Mm.
you got to walk the walk at the pace that your emotions and your faith allows you to walk. So yes, I have fully accepted that my parents have I was about to say
Transition.
transcended, maybe that is the right word, but that they have gone to another level of rest. I'm fine with that, but
Mm.
that doesn't mean that my heart doesn't bleed when somebody else loses their parent. That doesn't make me
Mm-hmm.
an expert in funerals.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I need to know that it's a trigger for me. And so I need to be able to wisely seek counsel and wisely understand what happens and what affects me. And so I want to ask you this before I go into the next realm. Why do you think that we've kind of put people in this thing that is a one size fit all? You know what I'm saying? Like my boundary may not be your boundary, your trigger may not be my trigger, but it's very important that we realize that it's all different.
Yeah, it's funny because I saw someone post this the other day. They said, um, just because you went to counseling or you went to therapy and whatever your counselor or therapist like suggested for you, that doesn't make you now an expert in therapy or expert in counseling. To whereas now you go tell your sister or your friend or your cousin or whoever else, do this. This is what I did and this how it worked for me. Like we all have a journey. We all have a path. And though there may be some common things, some commonalities to it all, Like we all have to go at, as you said, we all have been given our own measure of faith, our own measure of faith, and that's not measure of faith in just everything, but it's like a measure of faith in this, a measure of faith in finances, a measure of faith in health, a measure of faith in healing, a measure of
Right.
faith in whatever it may be. And even sometimes we look and we sometimes wrongfully criticize or judge people. I'm a sports, person. Like I've been watching basketball all of my life. It's unfortunate in some ways because I grew up in the '90s in Chicago, but Michael Jordan was like the hottest thing, and so sometimes it can be a little toxic because as we saw in the Last Dance. I don't know if you watched that or not, but
Yeah, I
he was
did.
a bit domineering, and so like I grew up in that culture, and so I have to like temper myself from being like that. But I say that to say like in basketball, in particular, in football, in baseball, everybody has a position. Everybody has a role and a responsibility. People don't understand like Michael Jordan did what he was gifted to do, but he also did what the system was designed for him to do. And so we have to understand that we all have our own unique responsibility, roles, and unique giftings in the system of this world. And when we allow the
That's
coach
good.
to do what the coach do, we can play our role and win. Steve Kerr was not the greatest point guard to ever walk. He was the greatest, one of the greatest shooters, and he complemented one of the greatest players ever. Scottie Pippen wasn't the greatest of anything, but what he did it within the system that they had. And when they worked together, they were unstoppable. Considered one of the greatest teams in all of history.
Yeah,
And again, when we understand that each one of us have a unique role and responsibility in the system of life, in the system of God's kingdom, then we understand, okay, it's not for her to walk around here in her shadow healing people. That's not her call. That's not her responsibility. It's not for her to, possibly, I'm not saying you, but it's not for him to have millions on millions on millions. That may not be his role or his responsibility. It may not be for you to turn around tomorrow and be healed from the transition of your parents. It may be your responsibility to be someone that say, it took me 10 years. And then I can go back and help the next person who it may take them 10 years. You know what I mean? And so
absolutely.
we just got to embrace the fact that everybody has their own unique role and responsibility in the system of life. And when we allow the coach and the management to do what the coach and the management do, and we do what we was created and called to do, then we'll be a dynasty. The world won't be able to stop us. The world wouldn't be able to do anything with the kingdom of God when we understand that.
Oh, it's so good when you said if each of us would play our role, if every person would understand that we are uniquely made. I can I can honor people. I can respect them.
Yep.
I can love what they do, but I am not supposed to morph into who they are, cuz then two things happen when we do that. One, I leave the spacing that I was created for wide open, and then I crowd the area of the person who I'm trying to be like. And for so many years and decades and time, we have all been like, that's the person I want to be like. And I
Mm-hmm.
believe that we should have people. There's a scripture that says, "Mark the perfect man." Right? There are
Mm.
certain people that we should look up to,
Mm-hmm.
and we
Mm-hmm.
should admire, and we should use some of their principles. But we can do it without leaving our post.
Come on.
And so, with this year in that I wanted to talk about, I want to tell somebody, get back in your
My.
post. Get back in
My.
your post in your home, at your job. Get back in your post even with yourself. You are enough. You are made to be the best version of you. And in that space, you have been given influence. You have
Mm.
been given authority to be
Mm.
you, to craft you, to get. So let me tell you this. I've been noticing a lot of people that have been going back to school and
Mm-hmm.
celebrating graduations and all that kind of stuff. And I always want to say to people, never be afraid of it. So the steps of a good person, a good man, are ordered,
Order.
right? So there's not one step that you could take in bettering yourself that's going to be a bad move.
Wow. Wow.
Now, I'm not saying
Wow.
try and change something because you don't you trying to keep up with the Joneses, or it may not even be the Joneses this day. It might be the Johnsons. I don't know. But do it for you. Don't have to pray and ask for a will of God to make yourself better. Do it. He's already given you that innate ability to do so. Now, you may need guidance on what school, what career path, but there's nothing that you can do to enhance yourself that is a horrible thing.
Totally.
Learning is a great thing, and we should all be learning. We should know more December 18th than we did January 1st. We should know more, not just about the current status of the world, about politics. We should know more about ourselves. Let me tell you what I learned about myself this year. I like being alone sometimes.
My mama. My
I know
mama.
that's hard to believe. I
Mm.
like me. I'm fine with spending time with me. And then now that I like me, when I come around other people, I know what I'm bringing to the table, and that's not arrogance.
Mhm.
That is not from
Mhm.
a position of arrogance. That's from a position of I'm sure in what I have and what I have in my post, in my position. Listen, had Steve Kerr, to your analogy, had
Mhm.
Steve Kerr been trying to play Michael's role, Scotty's role, Dennis' role, he would not have been in position when Jordan threw him the ball.
My God.
And sometimes for
Yep.
us, y'all, the
Yep.
ball is coming to us, and it's going to make the world of
Woo!
difference for our family. It's going to make the world, it's going to change the trajectory of what's going on in our lives. It's going to make us feel better. It's going to open up doors for, woo. Listen, Steve Kerr may have never gone down in history had he not caught
Never.
that pass
Nope. Nope.
and made the shot.
Nope. Nope.
And for many of us, the next part of history, the next part of what's
My
going on for
God.
us is going to be
Wow.
in position, catch the
Wow.
ball. You've
Wow.
been in practice. You've
Wow.
had enough to go shoot the ball.
Wow.
Everybody say it, shoot
Wow.
the ball.
Shoot the ball.
Shoot
Yes.
it.
Yes. 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 And it's so crazy because when you say that, I think about the fact that now he's a multi-time winning coach, which he wouldn't have even gotten that opportunity if he wasn't the winning player. And he
Yeah.
wouldn't have been the winning player if he wasn't, to your point, in position.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's so funny too because when you said the steps of a good man or a good person is ordered by God, ordered by God. As you were sharing that, I thought about it like in and of myself, my steps may be all out of order, all out of place. I had a child before we got married, and now we married, and all this other stuff. Like, or I didn't finish school, or whatever it may have been. Like, all of my steps may have been out of order. But then God got a hold of the pieces, and He put it all in order. And He said, "I restore the years that the cankerworm stole, and now I'm redeeming the time. And whatever you may have thought you lost, I'm giving it back to you because time is in my hand. Because this life is in my hand. And now that I've gotten a hold of your steps, now that you've given them to me, now I'll put them in order." And so to your point, like even if I'm going to school at 40, 50, 60 years old, it doesn't matter. God will take that and put it in order.
Yeah. Yes, he will put it in order. And so the one of the things too, and I wanted to talk about this is and you could talk more about the health part of it or the eating part of it. I know for me with finances, he made me pay attention
Mm-hmm.
to where my money was going and what I was investing in and why I felt like it was never enough when he supplies all our needs, right? Why does it seem like there's never enough? And so I had to check my ways. I had
Mm-hmm.
to sit down, not the man did it or they
Mm-hmm.
doing it or I'm not making enough or this, that, and the third. I had to sit down, look at the numbers because numbers don't lie, and
Mm-hmm.
look at the pattern of me. And what I realized is for me, food became a real big thing, right? I do my shopping, but that ain't my
Mhm,
thing. Food is my
mhm,
thing. I like to eat. I like to try different stuff,
mhm,
and what the bill can be, whatever it is, I don't
mhm,
care. I
mhm,
want it.
mhm,
But when
mhm,
you look at it and you're asking for funds to do these things, and you've not been a good steward, and so a $200 meal at a restaurant versus $200 worth of groceries, you understand it
mhm,
just makes a little bit more sense. And so for me, coming to the end of this year, I had to realize that I hadn't been the greatest of stewards of my finances. And so I sat down and I look at it all. I got it all coming in. And when I do too much, I find myself in a place of repenting, because I asked him
mhm,
to show me and asked him to trust me. And so I'm trying to do better by those things. That I know that you and your family took a different eating path this year. And I
mhm,
kind of want to hear you talk about why you chose that path. And I will say, y'all, we're not trying to push nobody on anything. We're just
mhm.
talking about the things that we have gotten to at the end of this year. So tell me about the path that your family is on and why you chose that path.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm really fighting some emotions right now because I haven't even really shared this part of it with many people, if any people. I don't even know. Um, but so I had some concerns about Latrice health. I had some I'd seen some things, and I didn't want that to come into fruition. And so the first thing that I really came to me was health. Change the E. Like that's what's affecting us more than anything is what we put in us. And so and so long story short, I was fasting going into the year, and then coming out of the fast, I decided I'm no longer going to eat meat. Start my path to being a vegan. And my children was like, "Well, why are you doing this?" And I was like, "Well, I can show you better than I can tell you." And so then we watched one documentary, and then the next night they asked me about another documentary. So then we watched that, and then the next night she had made like she had baked like some turkey or something, and trying to be a little healthier. So it was like, "Okay, we'll bake it. We won't fry it or whatever." And the children, they looked at it and they was like, mm-mm. Like we don't even want to partake in it because they had seen the documentaries and like the effects of eating. And so once they all was like, they didn't want to do meat anymore, she kind of by default was like, well, I guess I won't be doing meat anymore either. And so then we began that journey. All of us began together, like January, February, somewhere around there. And there's a myth that suggests that like eating healthier is more expensive. That's not true. Um, uh, we spend just as much on junk as we do on this healthy stuff. And so, we began that journey back in like February. Well, they began back in February. I was on the journey since December of last year, and it's kind of crazy because um, when you fast, and for those of us that have ever fasted, we can attest to this. So I did a just water fast, and you know this because I was texting you like, you got to pray for me, cover me, keep me. But I'll never forget, I was doing a just water fast, and by about day 5 or so, everything was clear. Like there was no congestion, there was no heck, nothing. It's some right now, but there was nothing. I was clear as a whistle. Like I've dealt with sinuses and allergies and all type of stuff for a long time now. Way before we thought we had COVID, and then found out it wasn't. It was just sinuses or vice versa. Way before all of that, like I used to deal with it. And so again, I was fasting. I'm like, wait a minute, why am I so clear now? Like, and I found out that pretty much everything in I'm saying I found out, but I've read that most of what we wrestle with, deal with physically, is from mucus. And most of that mucus is being developed by what we eat and how we consume whatever it is we eat. And so most of the illnesses and other things that we deal with is from mucus that either is being fed or being starved. You know what I'm saying? It's being like cultivated or it's being deprived. And so again, long story short, um, I I sense that, and then it's that I'm talking about 30 seconds into eating the sandwich, everything got congested again.
Wow.
I'm talking about I hadn't even finished the bite yet. I'm like, dang, I can't breathe like how I was. And so again, I say that to say, number one, again, when you talk about finances and when you talk about that and how it intertwines with faith, what you're eating and the food that you eat, the myth is that it's more expensive to eat healthier. It's not. Secondly, you see the benefits of eating healthier in a lot of ways. I don't want to be gross or anything, but your body processes stuff better and it gets out better. And that's again, what you put in is what's gonna come out. You know what I mean? Like what you put in is what's gonna come out. And the reality is, some of the stuff that we put in was never supposed to go in these bodies.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
That's
And
good.
I don't say that to judge anybody. I don't say that to condemn anybody. I miss soul food. I miss fried chicken. I'm going to cut out all dairy stuff like coming into this next year, and that's gonna be a hard one for me. And so again, I'm not saying any of this to judge anybody. I'm just sharing my testimony because we overcome by blood and land by the words of our testimony. Again, my family, none of us have had to deal with COVID, and we used to get tested. My son just had to get tested last week. None of us have had to deal with COVID since. And again, we've been doing this vegan thing, and we, you know what I'm saying, try to eat healthy. And I wholeheartedly believe that our bodies will take care of itself if we take care of our bodies.
That's good. Yes, the body will take care of itself. Even if we pay attention to how it heals when you cut yourself, how it all comes back together because it was created that way. And so for me, it was the financial part of this year. You talked about the health part of it. I think that I had to with the politics. I had to turn
Mm,
off watching all that stuff. It became grievous to my spirit, and then I started to see myself starting to hate people without
mm,
even
mm-hmm,
knowing them. And so when I watch the politics of this year, January 6th, I had to turn it off. Or January 20th, I had to turn it off because I felt this hate, like
mm,
like I want to go fight. I want to
mm,
literally go fight. And so I had to really posture myself and ask myself, like, is this good for me? And then ask a better question: how can I better the situation versus taking in all of this from the news? And I don't believe that the news is the culprit or anything.
mm,
I think our consumption of it and how we process it, just like the food, and I think
mm-hmm.
that's the issue. And so I had to stop watching so much of it, and I started to try and do good acts to people, regardless of their culture, regardless
Yep,
of
yep,
their
yep.
color, because that's for me how I changed the narrative. And change. I don't think the narrative will be changed based on who's in office. The narrative is
Mm,
going to be changed for those of us that have the light, that we shine the light. That's
mm-hmm.
how I've kind of gone through, and that's how I'm going to go through moving forward when it comes to politics.
I hear you and I agree. And I think it's not an either or. It's you doing your part in this system. Somebody else's part is gonna be within the system of the politics. Somebody else supposed to be going to become a politician of some sort to change it from their side of it. Like we all, when we understand that everything works together,
Yeah.
every decision, every good deed that you do is going to affect the whole system. The person that's in office, like it all works together. And I'm with you, honestly, like one step at a time, one person at a time, loving one day at a time, one moment at a time. And the more we do that, it grows exponentially. It's not just 1 + 1 = 2. It's 2 + 2, 4, 8, 12. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it multiplies exponentially. And where it was, like I do believe that America won't have the stigma that it has now. America won't have the disease that it has now. America won't have the issues that it has now. And to be honest, is beyond America now. You see it in other places, and that's why you see other countries and in whole other continents standing up with America because they see it in their land as well. And so again, I believe that it won't always be like this. I genuinely, wholeheartedly believe that we will see what Dr. King described. I believe that we will see a land and a place where it's actually uh, free for all.
Okay. Very good. So we talked about the politics. We talked about boundaries. We talked about so many different things. I think another thing this year that has been huge that we've, need to do our best to participate is the crime in the inner cities. Um, how we best can assist and help with that. And I think it goes back to you touch the people you can touch, right? So if there are people in your family, young, old, that is invested in crime and you have their ear, you have their heart. We don't want to wait until they 13 and 14. You got to spend time with these little kids because the scripture is true. Train them up in the way that they should go, not when they are going and we trying to grab them. Yeah, we can grab them while they're going, but it's a lot easier when they are little babies not to
Mm-hmm.
laugh if they use
Mm-hmm.
profanity, not to
Mm-hmm.
you know, make you think it's funny if they do something
For
that's
you
out
to
of
not
sorts.
for you to not use profanity around them, for them to even have an idea to do it. They didn't get that coming out of the womb. Like they heard you or somebody else say that. And so don't you do it. And then you ain't got to try to correct them when they do it.
Absolutely. I think one of the things too for me, I appreciate, God rest again my dad. So my dad made life fun for us, and so
Mm,
we look more forward to the things that my dad had versus than what people on the street was trying to offer. And so I would like to say to parents, aunts, uncles, cousins, make those children in your life excited to see what you have to offer. Kids are coming to school with different things. Don't have your child sitting there feeling a certain way, and you not have these conversations and things of why we may not aspire to commercialism, or
mm,
why we may not aspire to these name brands and all that kind of stuff. Make
mm-hmm,
sure they have
mm-hmm.
a good understanding, but make sure the things that there is something that they run to that makes them excited to be at home, to trust the adults in their lives. So
I agree 100%. I told you I got a house full. I already have a house full, but we got a few additional ones this weekend. And they're frequently here. And I believe it's because before I got this house, I promised God that I would consecrate this house to be a house of love, a house of joy, a house of peace, a house where children can be children. And so I have my niece, my nephew, my cousin's baby, the other babies. Like this is even all the children around the neighborhood in the summertime. They always in front of my house. You know what I mean? Like they're always here. And I believe it's because, as you said, we've made this a sacred place where they can be children. They know the standards. They like, sometimes we have some little boys that come from around the way and they be cussing and they'll, you know what I mean? Like it happens. There's exposure to other things, and we have to be mindful of that. But it ain't nothing but a conversation.
it's a
Like
conversation.
I was at the police station the other day. Somebody had broken into a house, and I had to go by the police station. And when I was there was another family there dealing with some issues. And one of the guys, he was going off at the other guy who was actually his little brother, and he was snapping. He was snapping. And so once I got done, like with my situation, and I was walking out, he like slapped him. And so then, like the officer that was trying to talk to the family, he was like asking him like to calm down. I was able to walk the guy. I grabbed him, walked him over, and he's like 22 or something. He said something like that. His younger brother is 16 or 17 or something. And I'll share this. Their younger sister was missing, so they were there to file a missing persons report.
Oh, Jesus.
And the younger sister, who's about 15, was with the younger brother, who's 17, the day before. And so they went back to where they were to try to file a missing persons report. I was able to talk to the 20-something-year-old brother and settle him and settle his spirit. When the 17-year-old brother came over and the officer wanted to talk to the 20-something-year-old brother, I I asked him like, "Hey man, like, are you good? You okay?" And he like ignored me. I'm like, and I'm from the street, so I don't care what. I don't know how old they were at the time, but and so I'm like, like, are you good? And he ignored me again, and like I put my hand on his shoulder, and he like kind of like moved my hand off his shoulder, like don't like basically like don't touch me, and so and I'm gonna cut it short, but I had the opportunity that by the time I left, so it went from don't touch me to yes, can you pray for me? Can you pray with me? And and after all of that, we prayed and just said to him, "Hey, man, like I don't know what you believe, but if there's any part of you that believe in God, then pray for your sister, pray for you, and know that whatever you've done, it doesn't matter what you've done, how bad it is. Like God loves you enough to forgive you, and you no longer have to live that way." And I say that to what you said about the violence and what's going on, even if it's not somebody that's of your kin, of your bloodline, or whatever. Like we got to be able to go back to how some of it used to be back in the old days, where it wasn't even my child, but I'll say something to that child because it takes the entire community for everybody to do their part, for everybody to do their part. And so again, like this young kid, I don't know when the last time he heard about God or experienced God in any way. And so I was just grateful to be some light in the middle of that darkness, to hopefully redirect him, hopefully help him see the light, and hopefully that can start a new wave for him, start a new path, start a new trajectory for him, his brother, and again, still praying that the younger sister would be found.
Oh,
But
that's
again,
good.
yeah, to
Listen,
your point, we gotta
I,
all do our part.
yeah, it's so much that we can do. It's so much that we can discuss. But I'm hoping, because I'm getting ready to end. I'm
Mm-hmm.
hoping that what we've talked about has kind of lit a fire under every person. I think the greatest thing that I said this last Saturday, the one thing about an eagle, if he's not dead, he may be wounded, but he heals. He gets healed enough to soar again. And
Mm-hmm.
so my parting word, and I'm going to let you have the last word before we end. Well, thank you so much. I know you have the Bridge Church, and I believe you have service on tomorrow. So I want you to
Mm-hmm.
tell that. But I want to close with saying thank you to everybody else, and I want to encourage you. Whatever your wound may be, as an eagle, it will heal. You will
Mm-hmm.
fly. You will soar. Just do it. The book, do it. The play, do it. The
Mm-hmm.
conversations that need to be held, do it. If you want to lose the weight, get an accountability
Mm-hmm.
partner, do it. If you want to travel, do it. Do it. You can do it. Remember I said earlier, lift and live. Like there's life in the liftoff. There's motion. No plane takes off and just stays in this position. It soars. It levels off until it's time to come down to a. The come down is never where you started. The come down is never where you started.
Mm-hmm.
It is always in a different place. So I thank you all so much for watching. Pastor Tracy, please tell us about where people can find you. Close us out. We got like 3 good minutes
I
before we
got
need to be out of here.
you. Yeah. So first of all, thank you again. For those that don't know, Val has been my confidant, the person that I would go to when life was at its worst. Um, uh, and so I'm grateful for her being in my life for all the many years that she has been. When I was just a young rebel doing whatever I wanted to do, she was someone that was consistently pointing me back toward God. When I was just coming in and filling in for my mentor and big brother, she was someone that was consistently pulling me up and lifting me up. She talked about lifting and living. She literally would lift my spirits and allow me to live the life that God has called me to live through her being the vessel that she is. And so that's why I'm forever indebted to her. And it doesn't matter what she asks me to do, what she need me to do. I'm gonna figure out one way or the other how to do it. And so I love you. I'm grateful for you. I'm thankful for you. And even all that you have done with me, even with the bridge, of which we will be having service tomorrow. It's our final service of the year. The other night, I came in and I was going through the archives of this year, and I saw where we started. At the top of the year, we got the keys to a loft where we was able to then record services there. And then now we're where we are now at the Hive at 1843 West Hubbard, and now we're there. And I was able to see the arc. I was able to see like this timeline from all of this year to where we are now. And uh, by man's standards, by man's metrics, it may not mean much. It may not be much of anything to anyone. But when we allow God to reveal things to us, He can show us more than what the naked eye may see. And I'm grateful that uh, I see what God has been doing. I'll say this, and I'll be done. The other day, I was looking up some clips on YouTube, and I was looking up a rose growing or a flower growing, and it was incredible because the point of view that they had on it was, here's the soil like line, and here's the surface, like everything above the surface. But most of what they were showing was underneath the surface in the soil, and it was a time lapse for like 25 days of it growing. And it started with just like a little bitty stem, a little bitty something, and it started growing. And what all we saw was just one stem on the surface.
Uh-huh.
All you saw was just the one stem growing out, and then maybe a couple of leaves started. But underneath the surface, it was growing so long, so wide, so deep, so far. And God showed me like that's what was happening to you this year. People saw what they saw on the surface, but what was happening in the soil, what was happening underneath the surface, was your roots were getting planted so deep, so wide, so long, so that when it's time for you to bear fruit, nothing will shake you. Nothing will throw you off. And I know we're a little scared to speak prophetically about the next year and things like that because of what happened in 2020 and 2019 and 2021. But I believe this with all of my heart. God said, get ready for lift off.
Yeah.
Get ready for lift off. 2022 is where all that you have sowed, all of what's underneath the soil is going to protect you, guard you, hold you stable. When the winds may blow next year, the winds may blow, it may happen however it may happen. But because you are planted and your roots are so deep, it won't shake you, it won't break you, it won't destroy you.
Yeah.
And so that's my encouragement to you, my Val. That's my encouragement to everyone that is a part of SOAR again. It doesn't matter what happened to you in 2019, 2020, or any years before. Your roots are so deep and it's so strong and so sturdy that nothing will shake you, nothing will break you. So that's why you can move with confidence. That's why you ain't afraid to get up and rise again, because you know you got a sturdy foundation. You got an anchor holding you down. And again, get ready for liftoff. That's my encouragement. Get ready for liftoff.
Listen, Merry Christmas, everybody. We pray that you have an amazing year. Be on the lookout for us in the new year. It's going to be some great stuff. Hopefully, we'll catch you in the skies. Not because you trying to leave
Oh
us, but
no.
in the sky, you done lifted off and you've taken off, and it has changed the trajectory of not just your life, but for those that you are assigned to and those that are connected to you. Pastor, thank you so much. I love you with all of my heart. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Make sure you share this. If you would like to be again a partner with us, you can go to our website, soaragain.nfp.com. Say you want to volunteer, say you want to give. We're going to be doing amazing things in this next year, and we're going to be able to do it because of your support and your prayers, and we appreciate you. So everybody have a great rest of your Saturday. Make sure you comment below. We love you. I love you, Pastor Tracy, and I'll be talking to you soon. Everybody have a great one. Bye-bye.